He gave the best years of his life to this ungrateful. Those traits get punished hard in Ukraine. The truth is, if you haven't been successful, you fall short of what Ukrainian women want. It doesn't mean you're a bad man. Just that their cultural demands are very specific. They require a very specific man. Too old for Ukrainian women? Well, even if that's the case, here you're not. You're not too old. You're just dating in a country where older men are treated, well, like you're washed up, even worthless. I spent about a decade helping men who have been crushed by the modern dating culture in the West. You know what I'm talking about, guys? The entitlement issues, the disrespect, right? The constant feeling that no matter what you've built, it's still not enough. You're not enough. You guys tired of that or what? I've taken the 2 a.m. calls from men who are at their wits' end. They're sitting on the edge of the bed, looking where their wife used to sleep, thinking to themselves, how the heck did I get here? I did everything right. Everything I was told to do by the culture, by society. So how did I end up alone like this? So what I'm saying is, I get you. Been there, done that myself. If you feel like the women in your country simply have no interest in you, treat you like you're garbage, then you're going to love what I've got for you today in this video. I'm filming this, by the way, on location in a country I affectionately call the land of sunshine and second chances. A place that completely flips the script on large, I'm talking massive, age gap relationships. I'll get into that in a minute. Check this out. This is what I mean. I met a 74-year-old American guy, actually on an escalator here, and then we swapped numbers, and I later had a business meeting with him, and he just kind of nonchalantly said to me, just in conversation, that he's married to a 24-year-old. My jaw dropped on the floor, right? So before you say to me, Joe, come on, man, give it a rest. Of course, that's transactional, right? I hear ya, right? But I saw them out on the town, right? Dancing, singing karaoke, and man, I gotta tell you, it looked like the real thing to me. So tell me what you think in comments. Can that even possibly be the real deal? So I've seen them, you know, out and about, and it's mind bleeped me as well. Believe me, guys, I've been sitting in this chair for 8 years now, helping you guys find the love of your life, your other half. And I'm wondering what's real, what's fiction, right? And I'm here, boots on the ground. So I'm gonna share with you, probably more in the next video, but about the boots on the ground investigations that I've conducted, kind of as an undercover journalist, like I did back in the day in Ukraine, 2016, when I was trying to figure out what makes women tick in Ukraine and why there's a plethora of beautiful women and not enough men. Is it fiction, or, you know, separate fact from fiction? So I'm doing the same thing here in the land of sunshine and second chances. So I'm gonna go over 3 things in this video. First, I'll show you who wins with Ukrainian women and who crashes and burns. Even well-off guys, it often doesn't matter. Second, I'll show you the single biggest mistake men make that unknowingly kill their odds, trying to force the wrong dating market instead of going where women treat you best. Third, I'll show you why men feel aged out in Ukraine. And when they come here, they feel like the prize catch in the land of sunshine and second chances. And it's really true. I've seen it with my own eyes. So you probably fall into one of 2 categories of men looking for their other half abroad. So I'm gonna go over those 2 categories, okay? But before I define these 2 categories, you need to understand something really important. Not all men are created equal in the dating market, right? Facts are facts. Call it your dating leverage factor, how you're perceived in that specific culture. It's often called SMV, or sexual market value. And here's the key, SMV isn't fixed. It's not a fixed value. It's a sliding scale. Changes from country to country, from ethnicity to ethnicity, right? Could be low in your home country, could be 2 or 3 or 4 points higher here. Maybe 1 or 2 points higher in Ukraine. It depends. What I'm saying is men are not valued by women the same in different countries. Not all men are going to find their other half in the same country. So for all of you to look in the same country might not make sense for you. This isn't about good or bad, right? It's simply about alignment. Does this make sense? Is this a fit for you? So if you want, I've made a quick free estimator. Takes a few minutes. It'll give you your sexual market value. So basically how women rate you, but in different cultures. So you might rate a 6 in America, an 8 in Ukraine, and a 9 or maybe a 10 here, just as an example. I've seen 1 to 2 point spread in Ukraine, sometimes 3. I've seen a 4 point, 5 point spread here in the land of sunshine and second chances. So you'll find the link below, or just go to yoursmv.com, but the link's below, and you can calculate your own score. And that will help you get a guide to understand where you should be or shouldn't be looking, right? So here's an example. Let's say you live in New York. Your destination is San Fran, right? But unluckily, you end up on the wrong road going south, okay? You don't know it, but you're driving for days. Is there any chance you're gonna end up at destination San Francisco? Of course not. You're going in the wrong direction, you know? So it's kind of like that when you're looking for a traditional wife, right? Here's the thing. Ukraine is not for casual dating. Most serious women there avoid apps like the plague, like Tinder, for example, because it's not built for serious relationships. It's built for hookups. That's not Ukrainian culture, right? When you're courting a woman in Ukraine or Ukrainian woman, it takes a serious commitment of both time and money, a serious commitment of both. Ukrainian women's standards are high, right? They're uncompromising, actually. They know what they want, and they're not going to settle. And you should be too. None of us should settle. Of course, I'm talking about the high-value Ukrainian women, like the ones in our Match Guarantee database, of course. You can find others. They're out there, right? And you won't win the heart of a Ukrainian woman in 2 trips, back and forth. The travel back and forth, it's expensive. Hotels, time off work, the implicit costs of your time, right? So the financial commitment is the first reason that Ukrainian women aren't for everyone, that men fail because of the financial aspect of it. It's expensive. Now I'm going to give something to you guys straight up. Might sting a little. Ukraine is not the land for brokies. You can have a brutal reality if you try and you're broke. They demand protection, provision, and security, number 1. And they want a man who's already built something. He's already established. So when I say there are 2 categories of men watching this, what I really mean is just that one category has a smooth runway into Ukraine to having a lasting relationship, find a wife with Ukrainian women. The other category is going to feel like he's fighting, like a salmon swimming upstream, right? It's rough. Neither man is wrong. It's just that each man has a different success path. One is here, one is here, right? So let's break it down. First category, let's call him Successful Steve, okay? Oh yeah, and just to be clear, when I say in Ukraine, I really mean with Ukrainian women, right? There's a war going on there. We don't condone going to Ukraine. It's dangerous now, right? They live scattered all over the world right now. About half of our ladies are in Ukraine, half out all over. Mostly in Europe though, right? Now, back to Steve. He's built a comfortable life. He's 50, 55, maybe 60 plus. He owns property, investments, he's got a real nest egg. He's secure, right? From the outside, you look like you've won in the game of life. But that might not be the reality, right? Because when you come home and the garage doors closes, it's eerie quiet in the house at night. You're trying to get to sleep. There's no one to talk to beside you that truly gets you, to share life with, right? The beauty of life with. There's no woman who respects you. We need that, right? There's no woman that makes you feel like this is your sanctuary, like a home. There's no pitter-patter of little children's feet, right? No legacy, no one to carry on your family name. No one inheriting both your values and what you've spent your lifetime building. And the part that really stings, because at the end of the day, success without succession, it feels shallow. Can you relate? Now here's what most people don't understand about Steve. Steve actually, he has options. Just telling you the way it is, guys. Because Steve can afford the long game, which is Ukraine. And being successful with Ukrainian women is definitely a long play game. It's not for every man. You gotta have the pocketbook for it. So the courtship takes time, their standards are high, travel's expensive, yada, 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 right? And you don't win the heart of Ukrainian women quickly. For most men, it takes months, not weekends, and often a year or more. That's the average with our clients, a year or more-ish. But Steve, he can weather those dating storms. He can afford multiple trips back and forth to Europe, so she doesn't feel pressured. That's key. You don't want to pressure her. You don't want to force the situation or you'll bomb every time. He can endure setbacks. You know, he's emotionally calm, stable, confident, and his Ukrainian woman feels it. In my experience, with Ukrainian women and my clients, you won't even get like them to open up unless you make them feel safe financially, emotionally, and physically. All three. That's safety and security. That's why Ukraine is built, literally, for the successful Steves of this world. They respect men that have their life put together, right? They respect men that don't need them financially, but they choose them. They want them. And they want to be pursued and caught, right? So I gotta say something out loud, okay? Again, may sting a little bit. Steve is not a brokey. I think you get what I'm saying right now. If you're a brokey, don't go to Ukraine. You're gonna crash and burn. If Ukraine feels like a grind to you, you know, don't go to Ukraine. And Steve, he can be successful in Ukraine, but he also has a fallback here in the land of sunshine and second chances. Here, even a brokey can be successful. That's right. Of course, you got to play the cards right as well. But the place I'm talking about, you might have guessed it, is the Philippines. Welcome to BGC Manila, Philippines. I'm on location right now, checking this out for you guys, right? Proving to you, like I did at the beginning of Match Guarantee, what's real and what's fiction, okay? So about Steve, yeah, he can use this location, you know, Philippines, as his fallback plan. He might like the women here. Either way, Steve has a path. His odds go way up when he chooses the path of the type of woman that he wants, right? That's important. So ask yourself if Ukraine is for you or not. Category number 2, let's call him Joe Average. Yep, that's me. Okay, he's not lazy, he's not a loser, he's not a brokey, he's just average. He's Joe Average. The thing is, Joe, he did what men like us were told to do by our parents, by society. He showed up, he provided, he stayed loyal. He carried the load for his family like a real man, right? Joe doesn't drive a Mercedes, he drives a pickup truck. He has a modest pension, not a 7-figure portfolio, nest egg to fall back on, but enough, you know, that he can cover his bases, even living here in Philippines, which is cheap like borscht, guys. Get into that in a minute. But here's the painful part. What did Joe get to show for all of this, what he was taught to do? Protect, provide, you know, a wife that gets colder and colder, maybe affection that died up. Let me tell you about this new friend that I made here. His name is Frank, okay, from Virginia. He's 60, and can you believe he endured? Okay, the marriage was longer than 20 years. I think it was about 30 years, but I'm not sure. But it was 20 years of sexless marriage. And he did it for the kids, for the most part, right? But he endured. He kept telling himself, it'll get better, right? Can't get any worse. He kept grinding. He kept being the steady Eddie man, you know, dependable man, the faithful husband. And then one day, out of the blue, his wife sits down with him and says, honey, sorry, but I don't love you anymore. I want a divorce. And Frank, he just sits there stunned. By the way, that's what my ex said to me exactly, word by word. It's kind of my story. He realized he gave her his best years, his loyalty, his labor, his protection, his provision, his life. He gave the best years of his life to this ungrateful, right? Now in the carnage, so what does he get for it? What does he get for toiling? Working and toiling for years. And if you know my story, like I say, that's pretty much it. So we really connected here. Same age, and he's here, and he's got a lady now. So guys, can you share your story with me? I really want to hear your story. Heartbreak story, your ex story, whatever's your story. You know, it really helps to build a community here on YouTube, right? With the Robin Hood, the merry men, you know, that are looking to make shit happen in the rest of our life, our second half, right? So what I'm saying is, your dreams are not dead. And average Joe here, this is where he makes the biggest mistake of his life. He assumes he's the problem, right? We assume we're the problem, but the truth is we're not. We're simply fishing in the wrong pond. You guys have probably heard me say that before. Ukraine is not for average Joes of this world. Not because Joe is a bad guy, but because among the go abroad options, Slavic dating is brutal. It's so demanding, so difficult to be successful with a Slavic woman, you know? No, I'm gonna take these glasses off. I realize they're auto tinting. So what I'm saying is Ukraine is often brutal for the average Joes of this world. Not that Joe's a bad guy, but because among the go abroad options, Slavic dating is one of the most demanding. You know, it's definitely the long play game, and the bottom line is Joe can't afford to fly back and forth many times chasing a maybe, right? Every trip stings for Joe, you know, not just the financial squeeze either, her squeeze, because Ukrainian women are notorious for testing, I call it shit testing, right? He feels her evaluation, testing, feels being measured. And if he's nervous, if he's worried about money, if his confidence wobbles a little, her sixth sense picks up on it immediately. Her messages cool off, dating goes flat. You guys have experienced that, I know you have. Write me in comments, have you guys experienced that? And average Joe, what? He does what we all do, blames himself. Maybe I'm too old, right? Maybe I waited too long. Maybe this just isn't in the cards for me, right? Maybe I missed the boat. Have you guys ever wondered that? Have you doubted that? I know I have. But here's the God's honest truth. Joe isn't failing because he's too old. He's failing because he chose the wrong pond to fish in. So let's be clear. The West is the hardest dating market on earth. I think we'd all agree, right, guys? There's not many rainbow trouts in that pond. So among international dating country options, you know, to find the second half, Ukrainian women expectations are high. They screen hard for strength, provision, stability, calm, unshakable confidence. They look for that so much. But remember, the problem isn't Joe. It's his alignment. He's off, right? When Joe jumps ponds into a culture that values him, respects stability, doesn't require a massive nest egg just to be taken seriously, it's a game changer. For a sincere, stable man, it isn't an uphill battle here. It's a cakewalk. You've got the home field advantage, so to speak, here, you know? The odds don't inch up, they skyrocket. Because you're a better fit for Filipina, right? For average Joe. Joe doesn't need a hard grind or to grind harder. He needs the correct environment. And most Joe averages, that environment is the Philippines. So if you're average Joe, know this, you're not disqualified. You're not broken, and you're not too old and too late. You just need strategy that matches your resources and your reality, right? As long as it's in line with what you want. And once you choose the right pond, your experience will change dramatically. Quick question before we continue. How old are you? How old are you? Write me in comments, please. Which country do you think is best for you, Ukraine or Philippines? And why? Tell us why. Let's really create a community under this video of guys on the same journey, evaluating Ukraine versus Philippines. Please tell us your story. We want to know. I read all the comments and I will comment back to you. It's a lot of commitment of time, but I promise to do it. Now, let me show you what happens when you're misaligned, when a man ignores his reality and tries to force Ukraine even though he's not a fit. Tries to put a square peg into a round hole, right? Doesn't work. Okay, Dave. Let's call him Dave. He's 61. He's successful enough. He's not wealthy, but he's comfortable. He's a good man. He's a decent man. But he had one non-negotiable on his heart, just like I did. That was me back in the day. He wanted a Ukrainian woman of childbearing years because, and it really was true, he wanted children. That was, like I say, non-negotiable. Starting his family at 61 was all he wanted left in life. Can you guys relate? Please comment below. That was my goal. That was my only goal. And I was 50, right? So anyway, we let Dave down gently as possible. We told him with this kind of ask, our high value women, they're not going to go for it. You have, sorry, but little to none chances of success. So of course we're not going to take his money. Can't help him. Of course he was peeved, right? Because he trusted us. He ended up going with another matchmaker, and I'll tell you how it went down for Dave. Over the next 2 years, he made, I believe it's 4 trips to Ukraine, trying to force the square peg into the round hole. Not working though, I'm telling you, it didn't work for him. There were so many signs it's not working for him. I told him it's not possible, you're 61. And then, his last trip, his lady told him, Dave, you're a good man, really, but I don't see a future with you. At least she told him, most don't. He flew home crushed, not angry, just defeated, tail between the legs. Can you relate? You know that hollow feeling deep down when you've lost all hope? I can relate. When we spoke later on phone, he said, Joe, I wish I had listened to you. Anyway, good news for Dave. After he came to grips with the fact that it's not gonna work for him in Ukraine, when he accepted that reality for him, because he had given up on the biggest dream of his life, and that's painful. That is painful. I told him, Dave, it's not game over for you. You just gotta jump ponds. He listened. I wasn't there to help him. He did it, on his own. But that was 6 months ago. And I'm happy to say, after jumping ponds and coming here to the Philippines, Dave is now engaged to be married. And do you guys want to guess the age of his fiance? And I think they're really good together. Guess. Write in comments. What is your guess? And I will tell you in comments what her actual age is. And that's what I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it here. I've seen it. I've touched it. I've felt it. I know what's real. I know what's possible. That's why I'm shooting this video for you guys. I'm trying to give you hope for you that have given up. So that's the big takeaway for Dave's story. Now listen closely. If Ukraine didn't work for you, right? That doesn't mean you're washed up, right? It doesn't mean it's game over for you. I hope you believe me. I hope you get that. You're just trying to accomplish your goal in a country with women that are misaligned for where you're at in life, for what you want. You're trying to force it, square peg in the round hole. No matter how hard you try, it won't work. You understand? Write in comments, please. What do you think about what I just said? Square peg, round hole. If it, Albert say the definition of insanity, trying to do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's insane, right? The truth is, if you haven't been successful, you fall short of what Ukrainian women want. It doesn't mean you're a bad man. Just that their cultural demands are very specific. They require a very specific man, okay? If you're serious about getting this right, don't guess at it. If you really want Ukrainian, but you're like you're just torn, sign up for our free matchmaking consultation, right? Go to matchguarantee.com/consult, and one of our amazing success coaches will be happy to sit down with you and help you decide which is the best pond, which is the best alignment for you, so you don't continue to feel like a salmon spawning upstream. Because when you get it right, your probability of success skyrockets, right? That's the reality of it. And I know there's a lot of issues and there's a lot of questions that you guys have. That's why it's free, because we know you guys can't just jump into this. It's a life-changing pursuit, right? And it can be expensive. And you can end up brokenhearted at the end of the day and your bank account drained. I've seen it time and time again. Remember, guys, go where women treat you best. Fish in the right pond. That's where you will thrive. That's where you're valued most. That's where the path feels natural, not like an uphill battle. It shouldn't have to be that way. Before you make your mind up, right, to come here, I know it's a huge decision, and you're skeptical about these massive age gap, right? I was too, until I really came and experienced it myself. So make sure you're subscribed. And if there's somebody else that's fed up with the opportunity, we'll say, back home, and they really want to know what is the opportunity elsewhere on this beautiful green planet of ours, send this video to them. Get them to subscribe, right? Please share the love. Until next time, yeah, remember, go where women treat you best. So what I discovered, I promise you, is going to blow your socks off. So stick with me, and I promise you'll be glad you did. Should I tell you? I hired a beautiful 32-year-old married Filipina spy. And guess what she's doing? She's registering on all the sites, not just local, but worldwide, with primarily Filipina women. Can you guys guess what the outcome was? So she registered as a married woman. Of course, the telltale here is, where can she not register? Who actually catches her that she's a married woman? Why are you registering with us, right? Comment. What do you think, right?